And welcome everybody. Whew, running a little bit late. We're going to start here in just like a moment or two. So go ahead, there's the PIN code on the screen. Go ahead and authenticate or put the PIN code in, and we'll start the game here in just a minute. And it's good to see everybody. Whew, what a week. Good week for me. A lot of productive things happened this week. So it's good to have you here. Oh, thank you, Blendinator. Always appreciate you. And everybody who's here for the first time, especially, my name is Keith Barker. We do this every Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. You can set your calendar by it and show up and join us. We mix up these questions and topics every week. And today it's on CDP and LLDP. I'll give you a little bit of the history a little later. And we're going to start here in just a moment. So thanks for being here. Go ahead and sign in if you haven't already, and we'll start shortly. All right, Dr. Gecko. There's Nick003 putting it all out there, saying who he is on screen. Glad to have you. Welcome. All right, Costa Rica is in the house. All right, let's get this show on the road. If somebody shows up a little bit late, if you would, somebody just jot down the PIN number, and that way if they ask in the game, that you can just text them, hey, here's the PIN number, join the game. Also, that PIN number normally is at the bottom of the screen, so unless something terrible happens, it should be there as well. All right, I'm ready. I'm excited. This came about because of yesterday in the office hour, which we have. It's free of charge every Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific on my Discord server. We had a discussion about various things regarding CCNA, and I think it was Dave. Dave was helping somebody. Dave, one of our moderators, and he said, Keith, I was looking for some documentation for CDP and LLDP, and so I thought it was worthy enough to make a quiz out of, and these are all relevant for the CCNA. So glad you are here, and we are going to start. Good luck, everybody. The topic is CDP, Cisco Discovery Protocol, and Link Layer Discovery Protocol, the open standard. And here is the first question. Can you feel the tension? I can. Multiple select. What are the enabled capabilities for PA-VM? There's only 60 seconds on the clock. I'm going to be quiet. All right. And congratulations to Rashim. I just was going through the chats, and he's stating, greetings, Keith. Just passed the exam. These came in handy. So glad they did. All right. So what are the enabled capabilities for the PA VM? Wow. Right out of the gate. These are randomized. So when I write these questions, I put them in a certain order, but these were randomized as far as the presentation. So this is the output of show LLDP, and then if we're looking for the entry of PA-VM. So we do a show LLDP neighbors, press enter. One of those neighbors would be this guy, and then to see the details on that guy, you just do a show LLDP entry and the name. So here's the capability codes regarding what this device is capable of, and it looks like down here, system capabilities, O, which is other, which means that the way that LLDP works, it has a TLV, type length value, and that's the format that they're using. So if this switch 6, receives a value and it doesn't recognize the type, it can go ahead and say, I don't know what that is, but there's something there, and that's what this other is. This is actually a Palo Alto firewall that's supporting LLDP that's advertising down to switch 6. So as far as system capabilities, the Pan-Am VM, the Palo Alto firewall could be something with other. It could be P, which is, P is right. Where's P? There. It could be a repeater, and that's because the Palo Alto has the ability to do an inline analysis of traffic, like a bump in the wire. It's not enabled, but it could be. And then B is for a bridge, because it can act as a layer 2 forwarding device, like a layer 2 switch. And also R is capable of, which is router. Which is right there. However, its only enabled capabilities is other and router. So out of all the possible answers, the only one I was looking for is router. And that is the correct answer. Congratulations to the 22 who nailed that. And congratulations to everybody who is on this live quiz today. Here we go. At the top of the heap, after the first question, Smart Pigeon, followed by Shining Buffalo, a Rational Raven, a Rational Boa, and a Smooth Sea Lion. We need more rational individuals in the world, I think. Okay, except when it comes to studying and prepping, just go all out. All right, what is true regarding Link Layer Discovery Protocol, LLDP, on this switch? Good luck, everyone. And that last one was a little tricky. I did say multiple select, which gives the option of choosing 2 or more. And there was only one correct answer. A little tricky on my part. I'll take it. I admit it. All right, way to go. Let's take a look at that media and let's confirm what is true regarding LLDP on switch 6. Wow, a lot of good information here. First of all, it's running LLDP because it's not enabled by default, but somebody enabled it. That might have been me. So it's enabled, and the advertisements are sent every 30 seconds, and there's a hold time for 120 seconds. So if we don't see somebody's LLDP messages after 120 seconds, we're just going to assume they're no longer there, and we'll remove them. And I would say that these are the defaults. Oh, yeah, that's the question. Yeah, these are the defaults. So it's 30 seconds for the advertisement, and the hold timer is 120, and that is like 4x times 4. So the hold time times 4 is the default for the actual settings. I don't know if they actually do a multiplier of 4, but that's what they are. So for CDP, this may be another question coming up. For CDP, it's times 3. So they take the interval for how often the advertisements in CDP are sent, and then it's 3 times that for the actual hold. So I got another question coming up. You'll have an opportunity to look at that one as well. And this switch has some neighbors. It's got R4, the Palo Alto firewall, switch 5, and RV2, and there's the capabilities. Fantastic. All right. I would say it's worthwhile knowing that the output of show LLDP versus the show output for CDP, the codes are different. And the best way to reinforce this is to lab it up. Packet Tracer is free. You can just get it from cisco.com at Netacad, and it's super, super simple, uses very little power, and it's free, which is fantastic. All right, here we, why didn't I think the reinit was default? Let's talk about one more moment here. So let's talk about this guy right here. There was a comment, and so the reinit, you can actually configure that if you want to, but the default is 2 seconds. So basically when when an interface comes up, by default, it's going to wait for a delay of 2 seconds before LLDP tries to go active on that interface. So I think the range is like, I think the range is, it's definitely 2, and I'm not sure what the higher end is. Maybe it's 6 or 7 or 8, but you can, in fact, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do this real quick. Let me see if I have an interface that can help us with this. I happen to have an interface, and I'm not afraid to use it. All right, so this is show LLDP. All right, so it's 2 seconds there. So let's go to show LLDP interface. All right, so it's enabled on, let's go to 00. And let's do LLDP, a question mark for context-sensitive help. And let's transmit. Oh, wait a sec. Wait. LLDP space question mark. Oh, look at that. All right, right there. REINIT. So it's a global config. I was going for the interface because that's what, but it's a global parameter, and the reinit is the delay in seconds for LLDP initialization on any interface. Let's do a question mark, and the range is 2 to 5. So the default is 2, and if you want to configure it higher than 2, you can specify 3, 4, or 5 seconds with that command right there. You can also, at the interface level, which is good to be aware of, let's go to interface gig 00. We can specify here that we want to go ahead and receive or not receive LLDP on that interface. So with LLDP, you can actually set it up on a Cisco device to, by default, it's sending and receiving, and it's basically sending all the TLV information. But you could set it up so it only is receiving or it's only sending, but by default, it's doing both. Okay, and let me just show you one more thing, and that is LLDP space question mark, and then TLV select. So here's a bunch of information that can be communicated with the type length value mechanism in the LLDP messages. And by default, I think on most Cisco devices, once you enable LLDP, most of these are enabled by default. So if you want to, you can say no in front of some of these and turn them off, so you're not advertising things like, hey, I don't want to show my system name, or I don't want to show my system capabilities. We could put a no in front of that. No, LLDP, TLV, select, system capabilities to turn that feature off. Okay, let me minimize that. Let's see who is on top here. Click on next. And, Shining Buffalo, followed by Smart Pigeon, Smooth Sea Lion, Rational Boa, and Rational Raven, still in the top 5. All right, here we go. Here's question 3 of 9. Which command enables LLDP on a Cisco device? The faster you answer, the more points you get. And Belay, regarding what switch it was, it's just a switch. Well, you know what I'll do? After this question, I'll do a show version, and we'll take a look at the switch. I love it. Paul CCNA. The answer is always 0. Love it. All right. Which command enables LLDP on a Cisco device? It is a global config. It's LLDP run, and that's also how you enable if it was turned off. CDP, and then on the interfaces for LLDP, there's unique commands for configuring it, and then for CDP on the interface, it's LLDP or no LLDP enable on the interface level for just CDP. But the word enable and LLDP are like oil and water. They don't go together. So good job on this. And let me answer a few questions that came up. And I think I can do it with just a few screens here. Let's see here. Give me a moment. I thought I had, let me bring up a new window. Oh, there it is. So let me bring this over. Somebody asked me what emulator do I use, and I use this. This is EVE-NG, and this morning I got up and I thought, okay. I thought to myself, I shouldn't have procrastinated, but I did. I procrastinated. I didn't actually write these questions till like an hour ago. So I labbed this up, and with emulation, it just takes a few. In Packet Tracer, same thing. You just bring them in, drag them in, make the connections, and go to town. And so I built this topology. And this is in EVE-NG, but it could have been done in CML, Cisco Modeling Labs. It could have been done in GNS3. It could have been on Packet Tracer, which is absolutely free. So that answers the emulator question. And then for the actual router, let me go ahead and see, where's that at? Here it is. Boom, 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 boom. So on this switch, the CDP options and the LLDP options, the commands vary just a teeny little bit between platforms, but overall they're mostly the same. So we do a show version, and this is This is Cisco's virtual iOS version 15.2. So that's the flavor of the switch that I'm currently running. Okay, let's see how we're doing on the podium. Let's see, we've got Shining Buffalo, followed by Smart Pigeon, Rational Boa, Rational Raven, and Knowing Bear. Okay, it's a tight race. Here we go. Question 4 of 9. The heat is on. Which option could hide Layer 3 information? All right, I'm going to put this out there. It's not MAC-PHY config. So blue is out. And it's not power management. All right, it is management address. So in the output, if we do a shows what are we looking at? LLDP or CDP? Yeah, if we did a show LLDP entry and then put our neighbor's identifier in, it's going to show the management address if they're advertising it, and if they're not advertising it, we won't see it. So if we say to our neighbor, hey, no LLDP TLV select management address, we're not going to be advertising that layer 3 information. However, this is, having a set of tools that we can use is super helpful. And CDP and LLDP are one of those, because let's imagine that we have this big thing up here called a cloud. And this cloud is going to represent networks that we are not directly connected to. And this is us right here. We're sitting at this computer and we've got some connectivity to that cloud. And we're wondering, we've got a switch and a router and another device. We're trying to find out who's connected to what, verify the ports and all the rest. Or maybe we have access to this device, but we don't know what the IP address is on this device. If we go to this device and do a show LDP entry and then for that neighbor, that can show us the management IP address. And then, assuming we have permissions to connect, we could use SSH or whatever to try to connect to that IP address. So it's a great way to discover what's out there on your network, CDP and LLDP, with CDP being proprietary to Cisco and LLDP being an open standard. Also, what else do I want to mention? I don't want to give away too much. I think there's a couple more questions coming up. So let me clear that off. Congratulations to 36 of you. And here we go. Actually, congratulations to everybody for showing up. I'm glad you're here. I'm having a fun time. And Shining Buffalo is on top. Here's the question number 5 of 9. Which protocol allows, oh my gosh, the faster you answer this correctly, the more points you get. Go, go, go. Glad you're all here. All right, LLDP is fantastic for inter-vendor topology discovery because it's not proprietary to Cisco. All right, and 999J Strict is asking, will there be a quiz on July 4th? Yeah, it's going to be, if that's a Sunday, yeah, it's 10 a.m. or sorry, 11 a.m. Pacific time. So I intend to do it on July 4th, and then we go celebrate later. In Vegas, it's probably only going to be like, I don't know, 110, 115 outside. All right, here we go. Who is on first place? Shining Buffalo. I also encourage you to, as you're studying for CCNA or anything for Cisco or otherwise, schedule your time, enjoy the journey. It's worth it. Totally worth it. It can be a lot of fun, and it continues to get better. It's not always such a struggle once you have some basics in place. It continues to get better and better and better as far as learning and accelerating your growth. So I encourage you to keep learning, and if I can help with office hour or these live quizzes or other content, I'm happy to do that. Here's question 6 of 9. Which command generated this output? And I'll tell you what, you have two choices here. It's either CDP or LLDP related. Because every answer has those two in it. One of those two. So you need to sort it out. Is it LLDP or CDP? And then after that, you need to identify, okay, is it entries or neighbors? Thank you for the comment, Daniel. All right, show LLDP neighbors. And if we take a look at this output, I'm going to give a shout out to Chuck Robbins, who is the CEO, president of Cisco Systems, and CEO? Yeah, my president. Anyway, he is very open to a lot of different things. I mean, when there's movements that come across, right forefront, he goes out and says things like, hey, we support this community, we support that community, we care about this group, we care about that group. So I think that they care about I gotta say this gracefully, they care about a lot of different lifestyles and way people are. And so with CDP, there's actually a capability code in CDP. This is LLDP, but in CDP, there's actually a capability code that's a little bit lenient, I think. And so next time you're at Cisco Gear and you do a show CDP neighbor, and you take a look at it's actually neighbors, but you can do neighbor for short. Take a look at the output and the codes and see if you recognize something that seems a little bit open and liberal and welcoming. And if you do so, if you see that, use that to remember the difference. So all you really need to do is learn one of them, like, oh, telephone, that's an LLDP thing, or DOCSIS cable device, that's an LLDP thing. So just pick on, one of them, CDP or LLDP, memorize some attributes of it regarding the output, and then you'll always be able to help differentiate the two from each other. Also, this is showing a non-Cisco device, so that's a big clue there. All right, here we go. Shining Buffalo is still in first place. Congratulations. I think we have just 3 more. Yep. Here's question 7. True or false? 50-50 chance. CDP is only useful when there's an IP address configured. Is that true or is that false? And J Strict is asking, will this one be edited and posted later? I don't know. It takes me about 2 hours to go through a quiz and edit it and post it. So, it depends on what my workload is going to be this week. So there will be either this one up there or the edited version. One of the two will end up on my YouTube channel in the playlist. Thank you for that feedback, Daniel. Awesome. All right, one of the beautiful things about CDP is that you don't have to have IP addresses configured on the interfaces because CDP is a layer 2 thing. So if we brought over this topology real quick and we just said to R4, hey, who you got connected to you, Mr. R4? And just, if you take a look, I'm going to click on R4 there. And we'll do a show IP interface brief. Oh, Keith can't spell brief today. There we go. Look at that. No IP addresses whatsoever, but show CDP. Let's do LLDP. If we do show LLDP neighbors, it sees 3 neighbors, and we could do a show LLDP entry for, let's say, switch 6. And there's the details for switch 6, which also looks like it doesn't have an IP address configured, because if it did, I'd be advertising it here. Yeah, actually, let's go try one more. Let's go grab... what was I on? That was R4. Yeah, it was R4. Let's go over to R3. And here in R3, we'll do a show CDP neighbors. Let's do show LLDP neighbors. And let's do a show LLDP entry for switch 5. And look at that right there. See that management IP address? That's a switched virtual interface address on the switch that's being advertised. And so if we had connectivity to R3 and we weren't sure what the IP address was on that neighboring switch, this could tell us. I think we get the same thing with show CDP entry for switch 5 as well. Yep, same. I mean, very similar information there as far as the IP address, the layer 3 information. Okay, let me go ahead and put that away. That's fun, fun, fun. And now you know, CDP is useful if the interface is up and it's enabled. It's not just if it has the layer 3 IP address. It's useful for verifying the interfaces that are connecting the topology together. Okay, here we go. Shining Buffalo, first place, followed by Bright Eagle, Smooth Sea Lion, Yellow Impala, and Cheerful Gator. Yeah, all right, 2 more to go. Which command generated this output? The faster you answer correctly, the more points you get. Good luck, everyone. So Daniel, regarding the LLDP, if your Netgear is running CDP, that would be a reason why it's showing up. If it's not running LLDP, then they would not show up. You can run both of them simultaneously if the device supports it. But great feedback, Daniel. Thank you. The CDP is definitely proprietary to Cisco, as is EIGRP, even though for both of those, they have opened up and they allow other vendors to use some of their technology. But if it ever comes up in a dark room, which one's proprietary? It'd be CDP. All right, which command generated this output? It is show CDP neighbors. Look at that. Whoa, just crushing it. Fantastic. The best way to reinforce all this content is to lab it up. Packet Tracer is super free. You just go to netacad.com, sign up with a free account, get Packet Tracer. And oh my gosh, it is just, I mean, every time I use it, I'm just impressed. Like, wow, I don't have to rack and stack anything. So here is Packet Tracer with nothing on it. And if you want to practice CDP, you just drag a few routers out here. You drag some switches out here, only if you want to. You don't have to. And I'm going to bring a couple of those out. You connect them together. And I'm going to use the automatic connector tool here. Just connect them together and then enable the interfaces. And then away you go. And you are on your way to practicing. It's that fast. That was less than a minute. And then you could look at the CDP neighbors for switch 0 and say, wow, there's no CDP neighbors. Why is that? It's because it's not connected to anything. But if we enable the interfaces on router 1 and router 0, and within a few moments, we would be able to go on either one of them and do a show CDP neighbors and verify the local interface and the remote interface between the two. And CDP is a fantastic tool for that. All right. I am sad to announce this, but this is our final question for the quiz today. No pressure, but this is for all the marbles. Here we go. Question 9 of 9. Multiple select. What is true about this CDP neighbor? Referring to switch 5. 90 seconds on the clock. So ask aloud for your question about the emulator. Right after this live event, after I take a few questions, I'm going to jump into the Discord server, into the CCNA chat room there. And if you want to join us, feel free to ask and I can elaborate. Be happy to. And the answer to that, Mr. Webster, is no. Packet Tracer doesn't support Nexus that I'm aware of. But for CCNA, it does virtually everything you'll ever want it to do. Virtually. That means almost. And it's also emulated or simulated. So there's a virtual aspect there too. Boom! All right, it has a layer 3 interface. Let's see why that's true. It's true because it shows up right here as a management address, IP address 10.225.2.3, which happens to be a switched virtual interface on that switch. And the other one was, it is a multi-layer switch. That's we'll take a little inference there. How do we know it's a multi-layer switch? Oh, I see. Capabilities, router, switch, and IGMP, which also means it has IGMP support, which is used by Internet Gateway Management Protocol, is used by multicast routing, but it supports all 3 of those. So awesome. And what were the 2 answers that weren't right? It's using CSMA CD. Why is blue not? Well, nobody voted for blue, but the reason that blue is not true is shows here that duplex is full. So if you're in full duplex, you're not using. You've got CSMA CD carrier sensing multiple access with collision detection disabled because you don't need it. You get a super dedicated highway for in and out from that device to the switch or to the other device. And the interface is gig 00. It showed in the output as well. Okay, let's see how we all did. Here is the podium. Congrats, everybody. Shining Buffalo. You did it. All right. Fun. Nice work. All right. This is the toughest question out of all of them as far as answering goes, and that's pretty darn good. There is quite a bit of on the blueprint for Cisco CCNA. They're asking about CDP and LLDP, layer 2 discovery protocols that we can use. Fantastic work. And let me go ahead and get some feedback from you if you would. Just go ahead on if you're using a screen or your tablet or smart device, if you could provide some feedback, that would be awesome. And what I will do is let me bring up this camera and let me take some questions for a few minutes. And then afterwards, there was a few questions that people had. I think they were going to follow up on Discord afterwards. So if you want to ask a CCNA related question right now, feel free to. I would be more than happy to entertain that. As soon as I find my screen, I have like so many windows open. Here we go. All right. Thank you for the patience there. All right. So also, if you do this for me, if you just do an @Keith Barker so that I can actually see it very easily, and then I'll take any new questions because there's a whole bunch of stuff previously here. All right. And if there's no questions, that's Aaron is saying passed my CCNA last week. Fantastic. Fantastic. And we also had somebody else. Who was it? If I scroll up far enough, who also passed. Let me see if I can find him real quick. Oh yeah, Rashim passed the exam. So congratulations to everybody who passed their exam in the last couple of weeks. Fantastic. And let me see if there's any questions for me. Oh, Greg. The last CCNA I took was mainly about automation. So, Greg, in the actual blueprint, there is 6 modules, and one of those is on, network automation. And it's pretty fair. Sometimes when we take an exam, sometimes the pieces that we remember the most are maybe pieces we had challenges with, or maybe we're super familiar with, and this is what sticks in our mind. But it's pretty evenly dispersed, and including Module 6 and Module 5 and Module 4. Okay. A question is asking, what is the best way to have really competent knowledge regarding CCNA? The answer is take the official blueprint from Cisco, the Labite, what they're going to test you on, which is produced and published by Cisco, and then get some study material, something that covers everything from soup to dessert. This channel is here to augment whatever you're using to study, and then lab it up. And when you can build topologies, like open up Packet Tracer, and we did this a couple weeks ago in the Discord on the office hour, open up Packet Tracer, have a plan, say I want to have this client connect to this router, or to this server rather, and I want to do it with 3 routers in the middle and a couple switches. Boop, 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 drag them out and make it work. And you'll find that, wow, this isn't working. Why isn't it? And that discovery process will help you as well. So labbing it up is my number one recommendation. Let's see here. What else? Puzzling Grover has a question asking, it's related to CCNA kind of. Why is layer 2 SW is considered as layer 2 if we can do both DHCP snooping, which is layer? Great. So, not my fault. That's all I'm going to say on that one. So so the question is about something that can do DHCP snooping. I would say it's more important to be aware of what DHCP snooping is and how to configure it and why we would want it and how it can populate the binding table between layer 3 and layer 2 addresses that could also be used by dynamic ARP inspection, those things. And as far as like where it fits in the protocol stack or why is it considered layer 2? I mean, a layer 2 switch from Cisco, a managed switch, supports a layer 3 address, a switch virtual interface. Even though it doesn't do routing for other people, it'll route for itself, and thus we can manage it remotely. And it's a layer 2 switch, yet it still has a layer 3 IP address. So some of that could be terminology. What's my opinion of Peanut Lab? Have you tried it? And I'm a huge fan of EVE-NG. I used GNS3 for years. I have a license for Cisco Modeling Labs. I've got a license for EVE-NG Professional, and I've also got a stack of gear out in my garage that I rarely turn on anymore. My one concern with anything outside of what I just mentioned, for example, is that security. So if you have something that's hosted in a country that may be outside of yours, or that may be hostile, or may be suspicious, that would be a concern for me. And so as I've used some of the other tools, some of the applications I've used, and I won't mention that by name because I don't want to throw any company under the bus, but some of the lab services and automated are coming from countries that I really don't want to exchange packets with. Not because I'm discriminatory, just because I want to keep myself safe. So with next generation firewalls, it can track, where all your traffic is coming from and going to, and logs and show you. And I just am conscious of that, and I want to make sure my traffic and my network is kept safe. So I love EVE-NG. There we go. Colby is asking about NDA, non-disclosure agreements. Everybody signs one for a Cisco exam. Perfect. So you'd never want to share any details about your exam, like, I got this question. No, please don't say that. If you have a question about technology, like, okay, how does the IP address, the virtual IP address work with HSRP, and what happens if the standby goes active, and those are great questions, but we want to make sure we don't discuss anything on the exam explicitly. And what do you recommend for practice test? Nick, I would say, this is unbiased, but I would say this playlist, the playlist on YouTube, which is the quiz playlist, is fantastic. There's somewhere between 35 and 45 videos in that playlist. Those are great. They're spot on as far as the depth of what Cisco is expecting you to know for certification. It's not going to be the exact questions because I wrote these. So, but it is testing the knowledge, and that's a great way to gauge your readiness. And they're free, my playlist. Just go to the topics and hit them one at a time. Okay. Ricky is stating, hi, Keith, I'm coming back to thank you for providing these amazing... Oh, you're so welcome. Passed my CCNA last Wednesday with a great score. Congratulations. Way to go. I'm so happy. Everybody I know who passes the CCNA exam or who I've had a little bit of, exposure to, they put in a lot of work. And so the first thing I think of when somebody says, I got my CCNA, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you are a winner. I mean, you can do it. Now, it doesn't mean you have to pass the CCNA the first time, but somebody who's put in the time and studied and labbed it up and they know it, they go past it like, yes, I passed it. And I still remember when I passed my first CCIE back in 2001, which was 20 years ago as of this recording. I was so happy. I was just elated, just out of my head, I passed. But then I also realized within a week, I was like, okay, I really don't know everything that I need to know to be really successful. So I'm going to continue studying, and it's been a lifelong journey. So ever since 2001, I've been continuing to study. Now, sometimes it's Palo Alto firewalls, sometimes it's Checkpoint firewalls, sometimes it's Citrix products, sometimes it's Microsoft, sometimes it's F5 and their big IP application delivery controller, sometimes it's Amazon Web Services, sometimes it's Google Cloud, sometimes it's Azure. It changes, but the networking stuff is very similar across the board. I mean, ARP is ARP is ARP is ARP, and IP addresses and subnetting and switching and trunking, whether it's virtualized or it's physical, very much the same. So it all helps. So building that knowledge is going to be great for you. So congratulations. All right. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh, some great tips from the group. Great. And I think that's it. All right, so thanks for joining me today for this quiz on CDP and LLDP, and I will be jumping into the Discord server here in about 5 minutes in the CCNA voice room. It's just a free hangout, meaning there's no agenda for it, but if you have a question for me that you'd like to ask as a follow-up to this online quiz, feel free. Also, every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, I hold my office hour free of charge on the Discord server as well. So if you want to show up and ask questions about what you're studying or just get some clarification, I'm happy to do it. And I just had one or two more pop in. Let me take those real quick. Is it possible to establish connection between 4 PCs? So Mauricio, if you could jump into the Discord server right after, there's a link in this video for that, the invite, and I'd be happy to elaborate and talk and whiteboard that with you if you'd like. Be happy to. And thank you to Eduardo. And Elizabeth is saying, I take my exam in 2 weeks. I've read somewhere that the fail rate for the first attempts is about 95%. I don't know. Cisco doesn't publish anything regarding success rates or quantity regarding CCNAs. They don't. They never have made that information public. So as far as how many people fail the first time, I don't know. I don't know what that is. But check this out. If you make it a game and you say, okay, I'm going to take the whole blueprint and I'm going to identify what I know and what I don't know, and I'm going to study up what I don't know, and I'm just going to keep studying and keep studying. For example, today, based on the discussion in Discord yesterday, I created these quizzes on CDP and LLDP. Did I learn something today? I'm 57 years old, and I've been a CCIE for over 20 years, and currently continuing to study and doing all the professional level stuff. Did I learn something new about CDP and LLDP today? I did. I absolutely did. I wasn't familiar with the med and how that worked. I mean, it's not needed for CCNA, but I was like, didn't know that. And also the default timers, I didn't have those in my head clearly. So I learned a lot by labbing it up, and then I shared that in a quiz. So as far as learning it, learn it to know it, and then just keep on studying. All right. And Kid saying, I helped him pass his exam last week. You are so welcome. So, because Kid, you did all the work. I love it. I show up here a couple times a week on YouTube for these live quizzes, and in the Discord server a couple times a week for the office hour and for after this meeting, and it's great. So also right after this in Discord, I think Kelvin, who is one of our admins on the Discord server, is going to be, I think he's going to be presenting something regarding LLDP and CDP. If memory serves me. If he doesn't show up, that's just my memory misserving me. But if you want to show up, I think he's going to do that too. Great. Okay, I'm out. So good to see you. If you haven't yet subscribed, save yourself some searching and go ahead and subscribe as a great resource to go ahead and reinforce concepts in CCNA. It's free. I'm here. I'm going to send you out with some music and my appreciation. Getting your CCNA is worth it. Spending the time can be fun. If you allocate that time, it'll pay off later in your career as you learn the fundamentals now and just keep on studying. Thanks. Catch you next time.